Well, I'm looking forward to getting into 1660 Vine and your life and the arts.
Yeah,
So thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
absolutely.
So let's begin our journey before we get into the production and your history by asking you this. 5.5 years ago or so, this pandemic changed our lives. Did so much to creatives, especially. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you create and live today?
Well, that's a great question. So the pandemic hits. I'll give you a fun story, and I'm in a partnership that does a variety of Broadway touring, variety of productions, let's say, right? Both co-producing and creating new work. So we're creating a new work in Hawaii, for example, that will open in Oahu next year for tourists. And so the pandemic hits, and there are projects we wanted to do, and we go, this is supposed to be over in 2 weeks, and it's not ending. So I had done quite a bit of work on with green screen in the past and with digital and AI technologies. And I said, look, I've got an idea that the first thing we could do is a musical called Estella Scrooge. And instead of waiting around for the pandemic, let's go ahead and film entirely on green screen. We're gonna, because it's a pandemic, only one person could be in the room at the time. So you've got a camera person and that person, and that's it, no other people. And we will put everyone together later digitally, and we will create entire digital backgrounds. And Estella Scrooge is the great granddaughter of Scrooge,
Yeah.
and so it could have a Dickens like feel in the background. It didn't have to be perfectly real. And so I did a demo. I think I might have been in Hawaii at the time. I did a demo, did it all on green screen, got some people to send some stuff out, brought it to the director because the director said, "You're not going to ruin my beautiful piece here that I've also co-written." And what came out, he saw it and he goes, "I can't believe it. Were these two people ever together in the same room? No. How are they in a hotel lobby singing together?" Well, that's the magic of technology. You go, let's do it. So we did a whole film during the pandemic, starring Betsy Wolfe and just 20 other Broadway stars. Everybody was available. Everyone wanted to do it. They were all out of work. We're just happy for the work and happy to do stuff. So that was really the first kind of mainstream, and it's streaming. You can get it on Amazon Prime and everything else. The first kind of mainstream work that was 100% digital backdrop, like 100%. There was, everything was digitally created with a variety of tools, including those used for game design and things like that, right? So that was fun.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, we began working on 1660 Vine, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
And 1660 Vine, we didn't have to do on green screen anymore, but we were still doing it towards the end of the pandemic. And the rules were very limiting, especially the union rules for bringing people on set and off set and all of that. And they had to be tested every day. They had to come in and wait at the beginning. Everyone's in masks the whole time except one on camera. So we did get through that, and I argued with the gal at the door many times. Well, I think he was at a party last night. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too long. Let him in. We got to film this scene.
Yeah.
And we got through it. And there were some arguments, and there were some times when I overruled the person at the door, and she hated me.
Yeah.
I said, well, there's a time that you got to film.
Yeah.
And that particular project, Paula Abdul was our choreographer.
Yeah.
She brought in all these dancers from Vegas because we're filming in Los Angeles, and we filmed in an apartment complex. We literally took over the apartment complex before the apartment complex was open. It was just getting its certificate of occupancy, so we were the only people there. We had the whole place, right, which is perfect for that show. And it went swimmingly well. I mean, Paula had a very, very high bar, and it's great to work with it. But on the other hand, the bar was so high that it's like, this particular dance scene is going to be in the background here for 5 seconds because, it's a film.
Yeah.
And we would film for 3 hours to get those five. I had the 5 seconds. I was directing some of that part of it. I had that 5 seconds in about a minute. We did it 2 or 3 times because we had 7 cameras. I had drones up in the air. I got it. I got this. The dancers are great. Chop, chop. We're done. No, we are going to film it till it's right. The dancers are sweating. We're on the roof. It's 100 degrees. I mean, let them go. Yeah. Anyways, these things always have stories.
Yeah. So let's boil down exactly what you do in your capacity as a creative right now. If I put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds at career day and you had to explain what you do for a living, how would you explain it?
Well, I have a dual living, right? So I'm in the AI world, and I invented everything that became Siri and Alexa and all of that. Actually, this is back in the late '90s. We created a team at a company called General Magic to allow the concept of a voice user interface or voice AI to happen. And we did that, and we created the very first virtual assistant that all got licensed to Apple and Amazon and Microsoft and everybody else. So that's one side of my work. The other side of my work is either writing, literally, I'm writing, working on a musical right now that is super interesting, and we'll talk about in a minute. And that is a very collaborative process. That is not something that, I mean, I don't do it alone. There's lots of collaborators doing a lot of things. I can write music. There are better writers than me. I can write dialogue. There's better dialogue writers than me. Um, I think one thing you realize, and I produce and I lead produce. We talk about that, and then we co-produce, right, at the company called Wits End. And the thing with all of that is that I always go in and say there's always someone better than me at anything I'm doing because there's 8 billion people on Earth. Just statistically, there have to be. But maybe I can bring something unique and something different and something entertaining. In the end, whether you're co-producing a show on Broadway or writing a show or creating a brand new work that is going to go to a workshop, um, you're in the entertainment business. And today, one big thing that came out of COVID that I think we forget today, we absolutely compete with streaming at home.
Yeah.
Now, some of our product ends up streaming at home. That's the core. That's where it's supposed to go, right? Others of it's supposed to go to stage and be live. But before the pandemic, nobody saw. Streaming was there.
Yeah.
There were a few shows, but everybody during the pandemic learned that that's where you get your entertainment from.
Hmm.
And it's been 5 years pulling people back to theater, pulling people back to places. And I just saw these stats yesterday from JP Morgan. They did a great kind of update on this. For the most part, seats are back on Broadway, almost 95% of the level they were in 2019. But what never came back at all was movie theaters.
Yeah.
That is still down 30 to 40% and rough numbers, and not improving. People aren't going to the movie theater. And if you look at the stats by age, the younger people get, the less they go to basically anything, right?
Yeah.
They are getting it on their, in fact, they'll watch a movie on their phone.
Yeah.
On their phone.
Yeah.
I want a 150-inch screen. I want to, in the movie theater, a 150-foot screen. Why do I want to watch a movie on my phone? Well,
Uh-huh.
convenience really trumps all.
Yeah.
And so we have to recognize we're entering a time when entertainment is delivered in small bits, small packages. We are seeing this sort of very fast, 2 minute, 3 minute episodes of these vertical kind of serial things happening right now, and that is taking off like crazy.
Yeah.
You go, well, how do I even create a story? How do I create a storyline? How do I create a story arc in 2.5 minutes that
Yeah.
anyone would care for? But if you're 12 to 22, you find this 2.5 minute dopamine hit really interesting.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
you've got to, and then you might have 26 episodes of that, right, to build out your story. This is a very different way to write.
Yeah.
Certainly not anything I learned. We didn't learn that in school anywhere, right? Whether we majored or minored in any of this. So a lot going on. I think the world has learned a lot since the pandemic, and it
Yeah.
really changed entertainment in a lot of ways.
Leonardo DiCaprio had a quote yesterday saying that movie theaters are becoming jazz clubs. They're very niche. They're very, like low percentage. It's going to be a very, herded crowd of like one track mind. And it's true. I mean, I can't remember the last time not only went to a theater, but I got real excited about films. And I kind of got junked out on that whole mid to late 90s kind of indie thing, kind of the Magnolia vibe, all of
Oh
that.
yeah,
Man, I love that. I just absolutely loved that really good, solid acting and storytelling and just that vibe, that
no
grit.
question.
I miss it
No
so
question.
much.
And you see that Hollywood isn't putting those out.
Right.
at all right now, because there's just no money in them. You can put them out for streaming and try to do it for, well, Hallmark makes its Christmas films for about $1 million,
Yeah.
so you can do those.
Yeah.
But here is the change that's coming. So, COVID brought us a change in distribution in the way that we watch our product, right? The way we watch this product, this entertainment product. And it's a major change in distribution. We went from, we're going to the movie theater because this thing won't be on streaming for another year, to it might appear on streaming first, it might appear on streaming in parallel, or it'll appear on streaming in 4 weeks. I don't need to go to the theater. So
Yeah.
that has changed the distribution model, and it's also blown up linear television,
Yeah.
sports aside, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I don't need to watch it live. I can delay it,
Yeah.
and some people would say, well, we've had that since the VCR. You could tape delay, but now that it's just built into the
Yeah.
network, right? I can just bring this up anytime. And a lot of the networks launch the entire series all at once if it's a TV series, so I can binge it. So that has changed the distribution model. And interestingly enough, it is more than cut in half the revenue per hour that you get from this distribution, right? So revenue per hour used to be, 52 cents for rough numbers for what you had on linear television. Today, that's half that or less than half that on many of the streaming networks of what they're getting, right?
Yeah.
That is why Hollywood itself is down 40% in terms of work from 6 years ago. 40%.
That's
If
crazy.
any industry was crushed by 40%, it's crushing.
Yeah.
Crushing.
Uh-huh.
So you're right. I go to the movie theater and it is a special night, and I want my glass of wine and I want some nice food, and I put my seat back, and I'm here for this special thing that feels like a jazz club.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
smaller and it's intimate. It's really interesting. That does not support, a $20 billion industry.
Yeah.
It doesn't, right?
No.
And streaming's having a hard time. Music has already gone through this.
Yep.
Music went from LPs
Uh-huh.
to CDs, and in each time, it was deflationary, right? They went
Yep.
from albums to CDs, from CDs to purchase online, iTunes, etc., from purchase to streaming, and you're looking at today, a 90 to 95% reduction in what an artist gets from streaming, say Spotify,
Yep.
versus what they used to get at the peak of selling CDs,
Uh-huh.
1992, something like that, right?
Yeah.
This is 92% of that money is gone. 95% of money is gone. It's not coming back to an artist, right?
Yep.
This is a serious issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not changing. And obviously artists have figured this out, so they have to go on tour, and
Yeah.
you make your money live. I mean, clearly, we last year Taylor Swift did $2 billion or so in her tour, give or take. That's more than most artists make in an entire lifetime.
Uh-huh.
So she has figured out the art of the tour,
Yeah.
and figured out, I don't know if you watched it, it's brilliant work. It's a Broadway show. I
Yeah.
mean, and in fact, the gal who choreographed it, I know her. She's a Broadway choreographer, and Taylor brought her in and said, create choreography for every single number in this 3-hour show, and it is a Broadway show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really. So all of these are fascinating, right? All of this has changed. All of this, and what I wanted to end this little piece with, this
Sure.
this section, is distribution changed forever, right? The way we consume music live, et cetera, in terms of the money. The other thing that's about to happen, and I'm very much in the middle of this, is AI is going to change the creation of content. So we've been talking about the distribution of content, right? And yes, I talked about the creation of Estella Scrooge, which was kind of fully digital with some humans filmed, but the rest of it was digital. Now we're talking about a time when an entire film is entirely AI generated.
Yeah.
Including the people, the characters, the background, could be even the story. They can be customized to you. We are entering a time when, instead of $1 million a minute for a Hollywood film, the average today, you're going to be able to make a film Hollywood quality for $1 a minute.
Yeah.
By 2030 or so. $1 a minute.
Yeah.
That means, just like podcasting, which used to be radio,
Yeah.
and used to have 5 people in the country who had a nationwide radio program. Now 45 million have a nationwide radio program because we democratized
Mm-hmm.
the access to this technology. That's what's going to happen in content creation.
Yep.
That like radio before it. I think it's going to have a deleterious effect on the major studios as we've known them.
100%.
Who's who is going to foot the bill for $120 million cost of making something when someone in their living room had a great story, literally made something incredible, put it on YouTube, and generated $50 million of profits for themselves with no studio involved.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Yeah. I totally get it. Because there's that actress Tilly. Is that her name?
Yeah, Tilly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tilly
Yeah.
something. Yeah, look, I create actors and actresses all the time. So I'm in the midst of using this technology because I'm an
Yeah.
AI guy too.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
also with music. I mean, so there are 3 or 4 songs now, as of today, that are in the charts that are fully AI created artists that the
Uh-huh.
artists, they say, we're AI. And a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago, when AI music generation was just starting, yes, it was crappy and it was terrible and all kinds of things. But I said then, uh, that the public actually doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I tell musicians and composers this, and they'd yell at me. And I said the public actually doesn't care where it comes from. By the way, music for the last 20 years came out of like writers in Czechoslovakia that were hired to write slop for these artists here, whether it's rap or R&B or whatever, and it would come out and it'd be a hit. Nobody even knew who the writers were, right?
Yeah.
We don't care. So to think that people are going to care if it's AI, they don't. They want to listen and be entertained. They don't care what happened. And the same is going to happen to Hollywood. And people in Hollywood say, no, you don't understand. People want Tom Hanks on the screen. They don't want an artificial character. I said, didn't they like Buzz Lightyear? How about Shrek? I think they, by the way, how about Mickey Mouse? I'm thinking that Mickey Mouse has made plenty of money. It was drawn by hand. So stop.
Yeah.
Of course, people don't care. They
Right.
don't care if AI generated it, if it's a real human, if it's drawn, if CGI generated it, which, Shrek, etc., was a special kind of generation for years that was generated with a set of rules rather than AI that learned its own rules. People don't care. Just
Yeah.
entertain me.
That's it.
And that's where we're going.
Yeah. So 1660 Vine, you kind of touched on getting into kind of more of the marrow of the story. Give me kind of the guts of how this began and where it's going
Yeah.
and where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'd love to. So 1660 Vine is a story about influencers. And we filmed that in the middle of 22. And we won 30 something film festivals and then released it, I think at the end of 22 or early 23. And then 24 on Prime. And now it's on a number of networks, including Prime. So it's streaming everywhere. 1660 Vine, very modern, kind of hip musical, if you will. It was written by 22-year-olds. I know them all, but you wouldn't know any of the names, right? You wouldn't know any of the names. But what they wrote was genius because it was very much connected to the influencer scene at that moment in time, which includes TikTok, obviously, and Instagram and other things. And the music is fabulous. It's just, I mean, everybody go see it. You'll be surprised and you'll be singing the tunes and they're great. We had some incredibly talented people. Pia Toscano is one of the stars. She tours with Andrea Bocelli today. These are really, really amazing people. And so they all were in this storyline of influencers coming together and living together in an apartment complex in New York, in LA. And so we had to have an apartment complex in LA to do this. And that's exactly what we did. And they come together and some of them learn that this whole influencing thing is actually fake. It's completely fake. I don't believe in this hair curler thing or this face cream. I don't know why I'm promoting these. And so some people spin out of that and go, I've learned a lesson here. I need to be real. And some of those songs start to I need to be real. I got to stop this, right? And others just double down and go, yeah, that's interesting, but this money's really good. I know this is all fake. This isn't even my personality. I don't care. I'm making, and several of our stars, you can look them up, make many millions of dollars a year as an actual influencer. So we cast it. We had 5,000 people. It was all cast online because of COVID.
Yeah.
5,000 people, send in their videos. We had a whole casting team looking through it. And so a lot of our stars have 10, 15, 20 million followers themselves. And so they are
Yeah.
actual influencers every day. And yet they wanted to be in a music, they wanted to be in a movie, right? Nobody's putting them in a film. And they were great. They were great. I mean, the reviews were great. Like I said, we won, I think, 31 film festivals, and some major awards. So I think we feel very blessed. It was a blast of a time to film that. Last thing is, we all kind of lived together
Yeah.
because we had this apartment complex
Sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
We just housed everybody there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was no furniture. So we had to have a furniture rental company come in, furnish like 25 of these apartments, right? Put us all in there,
Yeah.
and we each had our apartment.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like college week, as if you're back in the dorms.
Uh-huh.
You get up in the morning, you see who's up, who's not up. Every night, of course, the rules said you can never get together outside of filming. You're filming and then you put your mask on and that's it. Now, do you really think I wasn't going to supply the drinks on the rooftop for the entire cast every night? Of course I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're on the roof. It turns out we were outdoors. And so in the end, what we learned is we were probably fine. And we were fine. Nobody got anything. But of course, once all the police left, you know, uh, we're having a ball every night, right?
Yeah.
And up late and get up the next morning, 8 o'clock, and start setting up for filming all the scenes that day.
Being in this line of work has to keep you young. Being around that level of energy, people popping with all these dreams. I think about it as akin to going to a college campus. There's
Oh
just
yeah.
this incubation of the future, and it has to keep that creative through line so strong in you.
You are as young as you feel, as you know. I don't have to tell
Yeah.
you that, right?
Right.
And look, I see people in airports at my age, and they've got a cane, or so. It's like I don't know, and also people who've just completely retired, and
Yeah.
and I am fortunate that I get to work in two lines of business, both technology and the arts, uh, both live and film, right? And I couldn't think of being more lucky than that. I mean, I'm also lucky to have a wife who's fabulous and allows me to do all these things that take time away from her. Right? That's the, as you know, that's the thing with art, right? Any kind of art, you are making a choice to do this art that may not always make any money.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And when you make the choice to do that, you're choosing to not be with family or friends or whatever. And yet the art drives you so much, right? You've got your jazz program. I mean, do you really want to give that up? Do you,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I go,
Sure.
no, it keeps me young. I always think of my dad who passed away last year at 91, but he retired at 57, and retirement then really meant retirement.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Mow the
Yeah.
lawn, play golf or something. And my mind is still functioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as long as it's functioning at this speed, I should use it.
Yeah.
And then when you stop using any muscle, it kind of deteriorates, right? So I don't want to stop using it because I don't want it to deteriorate. That would be my advice to everybody. Don't
Absolutely.
stop using your mind. And I'll tell you lastly, yes, you're around all of these young people. And by the way, Paula Abdul, I mean, if you step back a little bit, you go, I don't know, what is she, 22, right?
Right.
She's young and vibrant and hip and cute and fun, and she looks the same as she did, and she's 60 something, right?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't really know it, and she could still do all those dances. She can do it with the young people, so she's keeping herself young. When you're on a set and you have 100 people on the set, but you got 20 or 30 that are cast related, maybe 40 when the dancers are there. They're all in their 20s. Like you want to feel young,
Yeah.
right? You want to feel young. You want to be around that energy, and you learn from them what is actually important to them. Like,
Yeah.
they're posting on Insta all the time. You go, do you really live, and Snapchat? You really live on that? Yes, I live on this. I have to. I just went to the bathroom. I have to tell everyone I went to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So fun stuff.
That's wild. So when you look back on your life and this life of creating and loving it, what are you the proudest of everything that you've done, become, and evolved to? What are you the proudest of?
Proudest of is hard. Look, I've been fortunate to invent technology that got used by everybody in the world,
Yeah.
right? that's a little bit freaky. There's other things that I've done that way as well. So I think anytime someone is, talking to Alexa, you go, huh, I know where that started.
Yeah.
Literally know where that started. And you got to be proud of that. But live performance for those of us doing anything in the art, live performance is very special.
Yeah.
And we just finished this show with Nicole Henry a couple months back at a 27-piece orchestra, and there's 500 and something people in the audience, and I'm the music director. I'm the conductor, right? So I walk out, and we hit it, and we go. Look, if I screw up, it's bad. If she screws up, it's bad. If one of the musicians screws up, we'll probably be fine. They're all pros. But there is an adrenaline that comes with live performance. I don't know if you're a musician also, Joe.
No, yeah, no, I'm just at the microphone.
Just at the microphone. Well, there's something about a live performance that is very, very, very thrilling.
Yeah.
And look, I love being on set and doing anything I can on set. I do love creating. Like I said, writing a new show right now. That is fun and it's exhilarating. But boy, when you've got a 90-minute performance and you're out there and the adrenaline's going, it's a very, very special thing.
Yeah.
And for those who get to do live performance of any sort, please, keep doing it. It's
Absolutely.
you don't make a lot of money all the time, but it is quite the adrenaline rush.
So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I hope that I'm a good leader that listens and that tries to bring up everyone around them to be the best person they can be, the most successful they can be, right? I read this one time that really the best leader looks at everyone else and says, I want you to be a better leader than I am. What can I teach you to do that? And then you're always thinking that way. And look, I think that is true. That's true when you're filming a movie. It's true when you're conducting an orchestra. It's true when you're doing a live performance. It's true when you're writing a piece, right? How can I share whatever little talent, modicum of talent I have? How can I share that with you, right? I'm working on a book. It'll be out in April. It's called The Joy Success Cycle. It talks a lot about this and how joy leads to success, which then leads to more joy, which leads to success. But it starts with joy.
Yeah.
And so many people, not just in the entertainment business, but all these businesses, and I see it all the time on my LinkedIn posts. People say, "Oh, well, I put this. I've been trying to just shoot for the success, and I have no joy in my life." And well, then you're not going to be successful. What would success mean if you're unhappy every day of your life?
Uh-huh.
So let's focus on making every task that you have on your to-do list. I keep a to-do list. Every task you have on your to-do list, a joy moment, and make it joyful. Like, I'm going to have to work on this new show which is called Love in the Key of AI. Love in the Key of AI, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, totally.
And some of that, torturous is too strong of a word, but it's hard, like a hard work. You got to think and you got to stretch, but on the other hand, you're creating something that maybe someone will like someday. Maybe they won't. Statistically, they won't, but maybe they will. And what fun it is to create. That's what we do as humans. So have joy at every moment.
Absolutely. So 1660 Vine is streaming. Your book's coming out in April. Any of the good business in your world, where's the best place for people to keep up?
KevinSurace.com.
Okay, excellent. I will put that in the show notes. Kevin, absolute joy. Thank you, sir. It was great to meet you. Godspeed. Keep making the world a better place, man.
Thanks, Joe. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Take care.